Hi, welcome to Chair Chats, the lifestyle talk show with a disability twist. I'm your host, Pauline Victoria. Imagine being paralyzed at 16 years old. Well, Lina Bettayeb didn't have to imagine it. She lived it when she was paralyzed in an accident. But 7 years later, today, she is now living a positive and powerful life with the purpose of shifting people's perspectives about adversity. But before we jump into this episode, I want to remind you to please subscribe and share. I also would like to personally invite you to my private Facebook groups called Victoriously Living and Crip Chat Club via Zoom, where we meet every Saturday to have real, honest disability talk. I also would like to ask, if you like what you see with One Leg Up Productions and would like to support us, please go to patreon.com/One Leg Up Productions. Lina, thank you so much for being on Chair Chats. It is wonderful to have you be on our show because you are young, you are disabled, you are proud, and those are a great combination that I feel like our audience needs to hear more about. Interviewing younger people with disabilities, even in the transition that you had to make at 16, you became disabled. And I'd like our audience to have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit more and your story. So I'd like to start there. If you could tell us who you are and what happened.
Who am I? The question of the century. But if I were to boil it down to the context of this conversation, I had a spinal cord injury about 6 years ago. I was a passenger in a car, and it got rammed into, and that was kind of the moment in my life that everything was put on diversion, and I came to enter this special world where I got to see so many different things and got to experience life in a different lens, both physically and mentally. So that's kind of, yeah, in a nutshell. But as a person, I'm a lover of life. I love adventure. I love to travel. I love to read. I love to converse and hear other people and their stories. And my interests are psychology and anything to do with the brain and planes. I have a passion for flying as well. And yeah, I'll stop it from there because the list can go on and on.
Yeah. Are you interested in becoming a pilot one day?
I would love to as a hobby, yeah. I would love to be able to fly a plane with no instruction next to me. So I think, yeah, that kind of fits pilot, but the name pilot, I don't necessarily like, it doesn't, that's not what interests me. It's just like, I would love to be able to fly a plane solo.
Yeah. Can I ask what is it about flying or planes that you love?
Where do we begin? So I didn't really have this interest in flying pre-accident. It really was, I mean, I love to travel, but I'd never ever even wanted to be at the front. But it was since tasting paralysis, experiencing it, this like physical confinement, this like limitation, that I always just wanted to be like a bird. Like whenever anyone would ask me like, what power would you like? Or, it would always be like flight. I just wanted to be like free and like limitless. And I don't know, like when I'd I'd look at the birds, I'd be like, I'd love to just join you, join your conversation, see what you guys are saying. but no, like in all seriousness, it was just like that feeling of freedom. And and then I also have a fascination for like for nature, and like endless blue spaces like the ocean or the sea, um sorry, the ocean or the sky. Like that for me just fascinates me so much. And also I feel like metaphorically I'm like closer to God up there, like as in like, and then it's just awesome to be able to have um just even the perspective on just like seeing everything from like tiny, and then you remind yourself of how small you are. So like there's so many reasons, but like initially it definitely like started from feeling like physical paralysis, and I just wanted to feel free physically.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I was wondering if the flying had to do or was a reaction to the paralysis. So that's
Yeah.
really interesting. I've done some scuba diving,
uh
and it feels like you're flying
yeah,
when
I
you're
can't.
underwater. Yeah. So you mentioned the ocean and the sky, and so you could do both, but it gives you that feeling. That's why I love being in the water. It makes me feel free, and goes beyond the confines of our body. And when you're in an accident and you say, I have a spinal cord injury, we get what it is physically. But I'd like to unpack the mental aspect of that. You were 16 years old. And the reason I'm asking this is because perhaps somebody out there is watching this who just became paralyzed, or they
Yeah.
know somebody within their family who just became paralyzed, and they may say, hey, this woman, she also went through what you're going through. And just knowing someone else has gone through and walked the path that you are now starting is so empowering and so um, encouraging, because it allows you to feel like you're not alone. So that's why I'm asking. I'd like to unpack the mental aspect of your transition from an able-bodied person to someone who is now in a more limited body, but not necessarily mind, because I feel like your work shows that you're not limited in your mind at all. But how does one get there?
I really like the question, and I love the clarification. Because the lines tend to get blurred. I would say, so the mental transition from fully able-bodied to less able-bodied, um, it's not an easy one. It is recipe for disaster, but it can also be recipe for growth. So it depends with exactly how you see it. For me, it definitely is about what you focus on. I could focus on the 3/4 of my body that is paralyzed and I'm unable to move it and have impaired sensation. Or I can focus on the quarter of my body left that I do have. And if I start to list, then the list will be endless. I can speak, I can listen, I can taste, I can hear, I can sing, I can smell, I can converse, I can watch my movies. If you start to focus on something, what you focus on grows. That's a saying that I live by, because if you train yourself to pick something out, if you train yourself to pick the negatives out, you will always, in anything you're given, you will pick the negatives out. You can literally be handed an amazing car, and you could be like, oh, but the engine sounds a little loud. Like, you can pick anything out. So it's about what you want to focus on. And of course, it wasn't instantaneous, but definitely was a process. And for me, I call it the mental garden. I had to treat my mind like a garden, and I had to plant the right seeds and tend to the right seeds. And by seeds, I mean practices such as gratitude, a healthy routine. For me personally, the remembrance of God, positive comparisons. For example, there are people that don't have what I have. There are people worse than me. Um, you know, and also pulling out the weeds, and the weeds I would say are negative comparisons. But she has that, she has the perfect body, she can do this, I can't do that. Dissatisfaction, ingratitude, distorted views. So anytime that would kind of start to grow, you got to pull it out. It doesn't belong in my garden. And then of course, staying away from pollution, and by pollution I mean like negativity, negative people, uncomfortable situations that would not help you at all. Surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people. And for me, working on that and constantly work, like on a daily basis, trying to water that and tend to that garden, it's helped with trying to maintain healthy thoughts. And then with the healthy thoughts, then my thoughts govern my actions. And then that's how I can best put it to you that I have been able to kind of go about this transition.
Wow. I love that. The garden metaphor. So good. So
Yeah,
good.
it helps. It definitely helps.
Yeah. Get rid of the weeds, people.
Get your spades ready and start digging,
Right.
because this is what you're going to live with. This is literally the mind and the body that you and only you are going to live with till the day you die. So you have that choice, I think. And that's also where it's like, okay, we might not have control over the situation. We really might not, but we absolutely have the power to control how we react to it. We can, and I love this analogy, and I read it from a book, and the woman was saying, she said, if you do end up, uh, falling in the ocean and going all the way down to the bottom, you either have a choice to stay there and drown, or you can pick the pearls up and swim back up, and you'll return back richer from the pearls and stronger from the swim. So that I found so beautiful, because it's like, if you're falling down, you're falling down, but you can choose to stay there or to push yourself back up, and you'll come back with, whatever you gained.
That's so beautiful. I feel like there's always so much shame about disability. Like, no one wants to be part of the disability community. No one's saying, sign me up. But
I didn't want to be a part of it in the beginning, to be
right.
honest.
So if you could go back and you
Yeah.
came out of that accident fine, a few scratches, anything that you came out of it with things that could heal, would you be okay with the way your life went?
My superficial self would say, yeah, please give me a few scratches everywhere. But the person I am today, and the pill that has taken me years to swallow, is that I have had to have something taken away from me in order to gain something more valuable. And I had to have the ability to walk and to grip, and a lot of my movement and everything that comes with it, by the way, because it's not just about not being able to move. There's so much more. It's the pain, it's maneuvering and navigating through society. It's a whole package. It's a bundle gold deluxe package. So many terms and conditions. But yeah, it was a hard pill to swallow, but I can confidently say that without that, I don't know if I would be the person I am today, and I wouldn't want to risk it or gamble it, because I am the best version of myself today, and hopefully I can become even better versions. But up until today, I like myself. I like the person I've become. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And who we are goes beyond the physical. And I think that's what you illustrate, is that it's not about whether you can walk or use your hands the way you used to. It's, who am I on the inside? And who do I show up to be in the world, and what I can contribute?
Yeah. And I always tell this to myself. I maybe had to have this something physical taken away for me to divert the attention to inside, my internal appearance as opposed to my physical appearance. I think especially in a time and a society where we are very much, appearance, external appearance driven, we forget that we have internal appearances. How do you treat people? How are you treating, how does your mind look like? How does your heart look like? How are your actions, your thoughts? Like that for me, that is beauty. For me, we could go kind of deep into this, but if we really, really look at beauty, like I had no role to play in my genetics. Absolutely not. The way my face looks, I had zero input. So it's like, I can't even claim it. What I can claim is what I put effort into, which is how I treat others. Am I trying to be understanding? What are my ambitions? Am I, closed-minded? Am I open-minded? Am I anything to do with my inside? That is me, and that's me putting effort. So I would like to be seen and maybe complimented or acknowledged from the things that I have personally put effort into, which is my internal appearance.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If someone was sitting there and maybe they've been paralyzed for several years and they're just still not there mentally. Do you have any books you would recommend that you would have them read, or podcasts that they would listen to, or anything, any resources? They might not have a family that supports them. Maybe their wife left them after they became paralyzed. I don't know their situation, but I know I was blessed with a very amazing and supportive family, but I also know that not everyone gets the privilege of that. So if they're just, they have to rely on themselves, they have to work on their internal appearance. What would you recommend them to do?
So more on the medical base. So I read a book called Mind Over Medicine by Dr. Lisa Rankin, and there's also another one called Switch on Your Brain. There's quite a few others that I can't seem to remember right now, but I think learning about the importance of thoughts as well, and the mind, how that can affect the body. Even it's incredible because of neurogenesis, for example, is the creation of new brain cells, and that is massively impacted by emotions and thoughts. And it's like the more we really kind of get to understand, anything to do with the body, even you don't even have to go into medicine, you don't have to be, wanting to delve into that. But I think that you literally live with this medium within this vacuum, you live within this. So I feel like it's important to get to know a little bit of this thing that we're living in, and definitely the link between the mind and the body. So you kind of cannot escape from the fact that your thoughts will affect, as in, if you know the extent to where your thoughts can lead you to, they can render you sick, and they can also do the opposite. I think that is super helpful. In terms of other practical tips, what has helped for me, journaling. Yeah, I think from the beginning I started, and just whenever you feel like it, just give yourself some time to dissect what you're thinking, because if you write it down, you can also root out anything that is maybe draining you, or anything that is stopping you from progressing, anything that you have to distance yourself from. And you can we really sometimes are always distracted. We don't actually get time to just sit down with ourselves and our thoughts. So if you give yourself a time to just sit down, put on some classical music, put on a candle, or a lamp, have a cup of tea with you, or your favorite warm drink, or cold drink if you live in Hawaii, some shaved ice, then just just have that moment. And then in the beginning, it might be like, it's like a to-do list kind of thing. And then after that, you'll feel like you really want to do it because it's a form of release for you. And especially if you're a type of person who doesn't want to tell anyone your emotions, you know what? Even if you're scared someone's going to read it, just rip it up after. At least you've let it out and you've taken it out your system. And essentially, it's you're speaking to yourself. And then you can just rip it up. You can do whatever you want. But I think definitely to understand where you're going, and also I think as well, a list of goals I think is super important. Just let yourself think limitlessly, just whether that be fly a plane or just want to go to, I don't know, just this cafe, it's your dream cafe that you'd like to, like, it doesn't have to be crazy. But I feel like allow yourself to have something to look forward to, because that makes it a bit more like, okay, I've got a sense of direction. Allow yourself to, no judgment, just write down, even if you feel like, oh no, I can't do that. You would be surprised. You will be surprised by the things that you can do, the things that are out there. Even if it's not out there, you can pave the way, you can figure it out, with a mind that is like, let's do this. Oh, that's an unstoppable force. That is a force you want to stay out from. You don't want to stop that track, because that one's powerful. So that's what I would say. And also, yeah, just set yourself a routine that treats you well as well. Give yourself, don't underestimate the power of a healthy routine, balanced routine. So, start the morning. If that, for me personally, I do my supplications, they're affirmations, and they're tied in with my spirituality. So it's like it all relates back to God, but that helps massively. And if you don't believe in a higher power than just affirmations, write down a list of, what you want, who you are, what you want to do. Today, I want to make today a good day. I want today to be beneficial. I'm going to pick if it's okay to have moments where I feel a little bit down, I'll pick myself back up. I'll just leave it be just a moment. It's not going to stay more than just a moment. Today, I vow to look after myself. I'll put myself before others, because if I am down, how can I help others? It's like whatever is, you have to kind of specify it to yourself and you and your goals and if you don't have goals and aims at this very moment, firstly, just start with a routine that looks after yourself. And then when you're in a good place, then that will start to come about. From my little humble opinion and my experience, that definitely helps. And then, just have little things in the day that you look forward to. I'm going to call my friend, or, give yourself, your TV series that you watch 1 or 2 episodes, reading, painting, for example, go into a hobby, I don't know, swimming, or just stargazing, or I don't know, there's so much. But then you start to enjoy your day by day and take it day by day, and not look at it as this whole big process called life. How am I supposed to do it? No, just take it day by day, and that is an achievement in itself. If you're able to just get by one day in a content, smooth way, where you've looked after yourself, your sanity, and you've made yourself smile, then I feel like that's a success for the day.
I think that philosophy goes back to your Instagram handle, which is Lina the Dreamer, right?
Yeah, I did it before the accident, which is so ironic.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I had dreams at that point, and then new Lina was like, hold on, sit down and let me tell you something.
Let me tell you your dreams.
Let me redefine the word for you.
But I'm of the same philosophy, though, that your thoughts are so powerful, and that is where any life begins. So, it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but if your life doesn't look satisfying to you, you are responsible for that. And if your life is amazing and fulfilling, then you are responsible for that. But we get to choose our thoughts. And even if it's not right now, if right now your life feels like it's in shambles, I mean, we're in the middle of COVID-19 right now in the time of this recording. It has rocked my world personally. And I'm sure it has rocked many people's worlds. It has crumbled what they thought they knew. And we still get to choose how we react to it, right? Just like you were saying, a lot of us feel like we're at the bottom of the ocean and we're just hanging out at the bottom of the ocean. And some of us are starting to gather those pearls. And sometimes it takes a minute. No one expects anybody to feel like, oh, I'm at the bottom, I fell down, okay, let me get right back up. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it's a process, and that's okay too. But understanding and giving yourself grace to understand that it's a process, and what today looks like doesn't mean that that's what 5 years is going to look like. But you have to start somewhere, and that starts with your thoughts. And I think that's so important to emphasize here.
Definitely.
Lina the Dreamer.
I knew you were going to say that.
What is next for you? What do you want?
For me, to be honest, I would be satisfied with just being internally peaceful for the rest of my life. I feel like that is my definition of success. I don't mean that no struggles will happen, but for me is I will be to be in a state, an internal state where whatever happens around me, I can react in a manner that allows me to see everything around me is a way for me to grow and a way for me to be better. No matter what's happening, I can pick out the things from it that are positive, and as much as we overuse the word positive, I feel like it would guide the way I live. I don't want to have a thought that will lead me to destruct myself and then lead me to just live a stressful life. And it all starts from a thought. So I would love to be in a state where I'm internally at peace. Even that means if I do have moments of going down or moments of sadness, that's fine. But I know that it is a moment of sadness and I'm going to come out of it. And sadness also isn't a bad emotion, it really isn't. It's just about the frequency of how long you feel that emotion. I feel like certain emotions are supposed to be felt at certain frequencies, such as stress. Stress isn't a bad one as well. It's something that encourages you to maybe speed something up, or but it depends on what frequency. Too much stress can be damaging. I would like to be internally peaceful and a state of tranquility. That is like my deeper goal. And just generally what I want in life, I just want to have, I kind of see it as a road trip. My destination for me, especially as a Muslim, a follower of Islam, is paradise. So that is what I put on my sat nav, my GPS. Hopefully I reach there. But from now to there, it's just a long road trip with different stops, different lessons. I meet different people. I grow, I reverse a bit, I go forwards. There's different speeds. A series of moments along the way, and hopefully just at every step with the intention to become a better person than I was the day before. And also to leave kind of, help people along the way. I would absolutely love to be able to do that and encourage people to see this power that they have, which is the choice of reaction. Because it's a powerful armor. It's a powerful weapon. Definitely is.
And I want to make a point that pain, emotional pain, physical pain, it just means pay attention.
I like that.
So if you have a pain, it's not bad to feel it, but it means pay attention to what's happening.
Mm,
So if you have a stomach ache, or you go get medicine, or you may have to go to the doctor, so you pay attention to that. But if you have an emotional pain, that sadness, that frustration, that anger, whatever it is, how do you pay attention to that? And where's that coming from? What is it that you need to do to deal with that pain? Because it's not always about stopping it, it's about confronting it. Lina, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on Chair Chats, for sharing your light with the world. People can find Lina on Instagram. I want to thank our viewers for watching another episode of Chair Chats. I'd like to hear from you in the comments below. Do you view your challenges that arise as a blessing or a curse? Because that is where the power lies. How we perceive our challenges is where our power lies, and where we can exercise control. So let me know, do you see your adversity as a blessing or a curse in the comments below? I also want to remind you to please subscribe and share, and I'd like to invite you to my Facebook communities called Victoriously Living and Crip Chat Club via Zoom, where we meet every Saturday to have real, honest talk within the disability community. I also would like to ask, if you like what you see here, support us at patreon.com/One Leg Up Productions. Thank you so much. And until we meet again, be blessed.